Happy New Year, everyone. Today's January 5th, 2010. I'm standing in the middle of our Bella Viva orchards with our crop advisor, Tracy Miller. How's it going, Tracy?
It's going well. Thank you for the invitation today.
Awesome. Thanks for coming out. Tracy has a lot of certifications as to why we picked him to give us advice. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The main reason would be I'd be certified in pest control, and I have a license called a PCA, or Pest Control Advisor License. It's issued by the Department of Pesticide Regulation in the state of California. And there are 7 different categories that you can be licensed in as a PCA, which I have all 7 of those categories. And you have to pass an exam and stay current on continuing education on each one of those areas in order to maintain your license. And so it's from a pest control standpoint, I do have those certifications to monitor your field and know what's going on and being able to help you with making the right decisions.
Awesome.
Also, we are licensed also as a certified crop advisor with the state. It's also a national license as well, but the certified crop advisor goes more into agronomy, into crop fertility, crop health, understanding the soil, understanding the tree's needs from a nutritional standpoint. And so we try to cover the basis not just from pest control, but nutritionally as well, and understanding soil, water, irrigation, and so forth.
Awesome.
So, as much as possible, we try to be well-rounded in our knowledge and our advice that we give to you.
Cool. And speaking of soil, I noticed you got a soil sampler right in your hand, and let's start out with that. What are you going to use that for?
That's correct. This is a soil probe that I use for taking soil samples. And this is about a 15-inch soil probe. It's got depth markers of 6 inches and 12 inches here. And I will use this probe to go throughout the field and take a number of different cores and mix them together. So we typically will not just take a soil sample from one given spot of an orchard or a field, because the soil varies from one spot to the next. So we'll take a composite sample. And on a field, typically I'll have 10 to 12 separate cores, and we'll mix those together.
And what do you do with the samples?
What we do with the samples is we will send those off to a certified lab that will test them for all of the basic nutrients. We can also test them for our soil pH, for our organic matter levels, for trying to figure out the amount of salts, good and bad, that are in a soil. Okay,
Tracy, so we got our soil samples back, and I want to hear what you recommended for us to do now that we know what's going on in this orchard.
Okay, sure. Well, we got the results back, and we've actually have some very good levels on most of the report. The nitrogen level has been the biggest challenge for us in organic systems. Nitrogen is an element that it will convert into a nitrate form, which nitrates can leach, and so it's the hardest one to keep in your soil profile, and it's the hardest one to prevent from losing. And so we really don't need a whole bunch of the other elements that often are found in either mixed fertilizers or in manures or something like that. So what we've chosen to go with is to go with some green waste compost. It actually is from the city of Modesto. It's certified organic compost.
So this pile of compost here has everything from the city, has all the yard clippings, has all the leaves that you see laying on the ground. I actually went online and I saw that it's about 82,000 pounds of this a year comes from Modesto, and this is where we get it. It's Modesto yard waste. So if anyone here from Modesto is watching this, we got your yard waste out here in our orchards, which I think is pretty darn cool.
That's correct. There is all types of things that go into this compost. It's not just yard trimming. So food scraps, food was grown in a field at one point in time. It took fertilizer and it took water and nutrients to grow that crop, and there's no point in wasting it. No point in trying to fill a landfill up with food scraps.
Yeah.
So those food scraps are composted along with the yard clippings and trimmings, and we're just putting it right back into the system. We're trying to be more efficient with our resources that we have.
Awesome. And you were telling me something about how this is a great way it's protecting the groundwater, the way we're managing this currently.
Okay, that's correct. Now that specifically is related to nitrates, somewhat also to phosphates as well. But compost, when you add compost to a soil, it increases specifically the cation exchange capacity, which means the holding capacity of a soil. That means that soil can now hold on to more nutrients, more water, more fertilizer than what it ever was able to before. And so what that means is nitrogen as it converts from an organic form to a usable form called nitrate, nitrate can leach in your soil. And if we lose the nitrogen below the soil profile where the tree roots are at, that nitrogen's gone. We're not going to get it back. And it's going to continue to go down into the groundwater. By putting compost on, you increase the soil's ability to hold on to those nitrates and keep them in the root zone so we don't lose it to groundwater contamination. The same is true for even things like phosphates and other things that can tend to run off your field. Phosphates will tend to bind to compost, and it actually increases their availability to the tree crop.
Wow.
So that we don't lose these things.
Wow, that's really interesting. Hey Tracy, whenever we're walking around, I see these things all over the orchard. Can you tell me what they are and how many are here and why we hang them?
Sure, Michael. These are simply a pheromone tie that contains a sex attractant that the female moth emits for both peach twig borer and oriental fruit moth. And this is a dual dispenser, has one of each. And these dispensers release on a daily basis.
Yeah, really.
Basically an aromatic compound, an odor that confuses the male moths and makes it difficult for them to be attracted to the female moth. So
yeah,
essentially
they smell the pheromone all over. They don't know which way to go.
They don't know which way to go. They're confused and they're totally shut down.
And are these helping confuse the moths right now, or what season?
This is something that we hang them in the spring after bloom.
Okay.
And so this is during the growing season when the fruit is on the tree that we're worried about this.
What other things do we fight during the spring while the fruit's on the tree?
The other thing that is a problem maybe a little later as far as insects would be spider mites.
Yeah.
And they're little tiny bugs that like to feed on the leaves, and if they get out of hand, they can actually cause all the leaves to fall off the tree.
Really?
And so that's one challenging pest that we
they like sort of live off the tree. They suck on the leaves, and
that's correct.
Really?
That's correct. And they're a challenge to control, but we've been using a product that's called GC Mite.
Yeah.
It's a certified organic, and it's a really neat product.
How does it work?
Some of these products you can probably find in your kitchen cupboard. It includes cinnamon oil and clove oil and garlic
sounds
extract.
Delicious.
And so basically it's not a pesticide at all. It's not killing anything out there. But you spray this product on the tree, and the odor and the scent that it gives off, and you get a little bit of absorption of the garlic into the leaves, and these little bugs, as they crawl up on the leaves and begin to feed, they do not like the flavor. They do not like the odor, and they say, you know what, I don't want to set up home and eat here. I'm going.
So they take off.
So they take off. Okay. And that product works real well. It just simply minimizing the population.
Well, how about this time of season, Tracy? What else are we looking out for and trying to take care of and protect our orchards against?
In the dormant time, Michael, the main two pests would be a bacterial canker.
Yeah.
Which is a bacteria, of course, and then there's a fungus called peach leaf curl that we try to protect for. And then also there can be little tiny insects that develop on the wood right at the buds called San Jose scale.
Yeah.
And scale insects, they tend to suck on the wood and reduce the vigor of the tree, and they'll get on the fruit, contaminate the fruit, and make it not marketable. So we'll treat with a combination of copper and oil that's certified organic this time of year.
Copper and oil.
Spray that on the trees, and the copper will prevent the bacterial canker and the peach leaf curl from developing. Leaf curl is a disease that will infect in the springtime. The leaves will come out and they look like they got this major cancer toxin. They're all bloated and bubbly, and usually the fruit will be very small and it may fall off. So if you don't spray for that disease, you probably won't have any fruit next spring.
Wow.
But then the oil that we put on, it's simply a suffocant. It's not any toxic chemical or anything like that. It's simply smothering or drowning the scale insects.
Not even using a chemical reaction to kill them. It just smothers them.
That's correct. It just covers them up and so that they can't breathe.
That's awesome. Tracy, thanks for coming out here. You got so much information. I could probably talk to you all day about it, but we're going to let you guys go, and we hope you enjoyed this little session about orchard health. If you have any questions, you can email me at michael@bellaviva.com, and I'll probably forward your email to Tracy to get the right answers. You can also hop on bellaviva.com, where you can find our fruit grown right here in these orchards.